No more.
Remember at one point you decided to do that.
Yeah. Rambam, the laws of Truma. Truma is a separation that we make to give to the kohen, the priest, 2% of the crop. Yeah. So we continue with these laws. Chapter 7. A kohen, a priest, who is ritually impure is forbidden to partake of truma, whether it is ritually pure or ritually impure. As the verse states, any person from the seed of Aaron who is afflicted with saras or zav may not partake of consecrated food. Truma is consecrated food, right? It's holy, and therefore the Kohen has to be holy in order to partake of it. Right? Regular food, they don't have to be. Right? But Truma, which is a gift that's given to the Kohen from the produce of the Israelite, or the has to be eaten in a state of holiness. Footnote.
Footnote 4. Truma.
Well, 1 second. Which consecrated foods may be eaten by all the descendants of Aaron, both male and female? We must say truma. It says I have a hutzarua. It says consecrated food. There, what does it mean, consecrated food? What does that reference to? One second, it does not refer to
Breast and the thigh.
Of the priestly family. Yeah, okay, it's a little complicated. Okay, thus, any impure person who eats truma that is ritually pure, truma that's ritually pure, is liable for death by the hands of heaven. Therefore, death of the hands of heaven means premature death, right? The person's impure. Therefore, he's given lashes. And he shall protect my charge and not bear sin because of it, die because of it. Die again by the hands of heaven, not by a judicial court. Yeah, lashes is only if there were two witnesses that warned him not to eat this, right? You're ritually impure, don't eat this. Right? So it's a very uncommon thing. Anyways, that doesn't matter. The point being is this is the parameter of the law, right? When an impure person partakes of truma that is ritually impure, does not receive lashes, although he transgresses a negative commandment, for the impure truma is not holy. Right? The point is not to eat something holy when you're not in a state of holiness. That's the point. But if the truma itself was impure, how does food get impure? Well, we'll be learning those laws. The food can become impure, right? Impure, it means a spiritual impurity. We're not talking about a physical thing. It's a spiritual thing. Like someone who was in contact with a corpse and then touched the cup of coffee. They make the cup and the content. Well, and they touch the coffee, they make it impure, right? This is impure right now. Why? I went to the mikveh today. Doesn't help for what? Come on. It's last week's Parsha. Well, how so? I went to the mikvah. Huh? No, this past week's Parsha. Come on. The red heifer. We're all impure because we've come in contact with the corpse. We've been you went to a funeral? If you went to a funeral home, parlor, you're impure because you're in the same room as a coffin. That makes you impure. Right? The Kohen has a separate dwelling to go into. That's what I just said. Well, I just gave an example. How so? Going to the mikvah doesn't take away that. Only the red heifer will take away the state of impurity that you came in contact with a corpse, right? Only the red. We don't have red heifer today, so we're all impure, right? So the kohen, in the times where truma was eaten by the kohen, in the times of the holy temple, he had to be pure. But if the truma itself was impure, and he ate it in a state of impurity, he doesn't get lashes. Why? Because that's not consecrated food. It's impure food, so it's not consecrated. It's not holy, right? So he won't get lashes. Did he transgress by eating? Yeah, he transgresses, but he won't get lashes.
Rabbi,
Yes.
I don't see Rambam on the screen.
You don't see Rambam on the screen.
No, there's no screen with
You know
Rambam.
why?
I just
'Cause
see
I didn't
you.
share it. That was not good. Sharing is caring. I didn't share it. Thank you. Don't wait so long next time. Interrupt me. Thank you. Thank you. All right. That was the first halacha. Okay. Halacha 2. Impure kohanim who have immersed to purify themselves, right? So now to become pure, may not partake of truma until the sun sets and 3 stars appear afterwards. On the day the impure person immerses himself, as is implied by the verse, and when the sun will set, and he will become pure. That's what the verse says. So you have to, right? So in other words, it's not after just going to the mikvah. The day has to go by until the sky will become pure of the light. Afterwards, he may partake of the consecrated foods. Okay. A kohen who is ritually pure, who ate truma that was ritually impure. Is not liable for lashes because a prohibition is a result of a positive commandment. For the verse states, afterwards he may partake of consecrated foods. Implied is that afterwards becomes purified, he may partake of food that is in a state of holiness. Food which is impure, by contrast, he should not eat, even though he became purified. Prohibition that stems from the positive commandment has the standards of positive commandment. So it's only from implication because it says, then he should eat from pure foods, which means, implied, don't eat from impure foods. But that's only based on the positive commandment. So it's not a negative commandment. You only get lashes when you transgress a negative commandment. So here he's not transgressing the negative commandment from the implication, right? Even though it's do not. So it's a do not, but it's based on a positive commandment, the implication. So therefore, you wouldn't get lashes for that. Got it? Yeah, can I have thumbs up over there?
Got it. Got it.
All right, amazing. Tim? Yeah, you good? All right, good.
Yeah.
Levi didn't. Okay. Tim. Yeah.
He's everywhere,
Yeah. All right, number 4. When a kohen was partaking of truma and he feels his limbs shudder to ejaculate, he should hold his member and swallow the truma. In other words, that he's got food in his mouth. He feels whatever, right? In order that he should not eat it in a state of impurity. He may immerse a deaf mute or intellectually or emotionally unstable kohen and feed him truma after nightfall on the day. We guard them to make sure that they do not sleep after immersing themselves, because if they sleep, they are considered impure for perhaps they had seminal emission unless a copper container is made for them, which I don't know what that is, that to prevent them from, I don't know how that works. Okay, number 6. Camel drivers are forbidden to partake of truma until they immerse themselves and wait until nightfall, because we presume that they are ritually impure. If their rationale is the physical stimulation produced by riding on the flesh of a camel produces a drop of semen, even a drop. A woman engages in intimacy, she may immerse herself and partake of truma in the evening. So, emission. It's interesting because we just had in Tanya about 84 fasts, right, from emission, right? So the emission is not coming in contact with a corpse, right? Coming in corpse is specific, um, is specific for the red heifer. The seminal emission, you just go to the mikvah, and then you go to the mikvah, and that night you are pure, right? So the camel driver, we assume. Okay, women. Oh, sorry. She may immerse herself and partake of truma in the evening, provided she did not turn over during the intimacy. Which then becomes a question of if she became impure again. If she turned over during intimacy, she is forbidden to partake of truma during the 3 days, for it's impossible that she can discharge semen and become impure, as we explained in the appropriate place. So that's something we'll learn more about later. Okay. Since the primary obligation of truma separated in the diaspora is rabbinic in origin, it is forbidden only to the kohen to become ritually impure because of a discharge from his body. Men have had a similar mission of zav, nidois, and women who gave birth. All of these individuals might partake of truma after they immerse, even if they did not wait until nightfall, because it's only rabbinic in nature, this law.
Wow.
1 second. By the way, when we speak about the diaspora, we're not talking about here like in Canada or in America. We're talking about like Syria, Egypt, and Babylon, and those areas are around Israel. That they had a different category. We learned that in chapter 1, if you recall. Okay. So not here. There is no law of truma here. Right. There is in Israel today a rabbinic law, not biblical law, of truma, and that's why you have to make sure you have a proper rabbinic supervision over food that's made in Israel. All these individuals by truma. Okay, those who by contrast became impure because of contact with the source of ritual impurity, whether contact with a human corpse or a form of impurity which is impossible to purge in the present age because we don't have the red heifer, or contact with a corpse of a crawling animal, need not immerse themselves to partake of truma separated in the diaspora. Because you're impure anyways. Okay. For this reason, a male priest, kohen, who is a minor, who is not yet at seminal mission, or a female of a priestly family who has never experienced menstrual bleeding, may partake of truma from the diaspora at all times without undergoing an inspection, with the presumption that did not have a discharge and would render them ritually impure, applies to them. Mitzaira, which is the skin disease, is considered as one who had a discharge that renders them impure, provided declared impure by the kohen, whose lineage is established. A kohen who is uncircumcised is forbidden to partake of truma according to scriptural law. This concept is derived from the verse, speaks of the resident worker and the hired worker with regard to partaking of truma. And then it speaks of the resident worker and the hired worker with regard to partaking of the paschal sacrifice. Just as regard to the paschal sacrifice, the resident worker and the hired worker spoken and refer to those who are uncircumcised and are forbidden to partake of it. So too, with regard to truma, so that's we make an equivalence between paschal lamb offering, where it says clearly the uncircumcised, and we make an equivalence with truma. So we learn the resident worker and the hired worker who are uncircumcised are forbidden to partake of it. If such a person partakes of truma, he is liable for lashes according to scriptural law. A person who extends his foreskin is permitted to partake of truma, even though he appears uncircumcised. According to rabbinical law, however, he must circumcise again until it appears circumcised.
That's weird.
Yeah.
That's very strange.
Okay, I got to stop over here. Wow.
They have to have an operation so that they appear to be non-Jewish.
Yeah, exactly. All right,
Thank
folks.
you, Rabbi.
A reminder tonight, 6:30.